Hello everyone, I'm Rhonda and welcome to a new video. Whether you are ready for it or not, fall is rolling in, September is almost here, and that means it's time for me to pick my September TBR. So you guys know how this video works. I'm going to use my prompt jar to help me pick about 6 or 7 prompts, and then I'm going to pick 6 or 7 books off of my TBR cart based off those prompts. Typically, I do use a separate prompt jar where I have all of the titles I own and I pick just a random book off of my TBR shelves, but I haven't been doing that these last few months, and I had planned to do it today. However, it's not updated with all of my new books, so hopefully next month I'll have it updated and we can get back to doing that. So I think I'm just going to pick about 7 prompts out of here, and this prompt jar does look a little bit different. I did switch it out for something a little more seasonal. I am using this autumnal fallish coffee mug, and I put all of my prompts in that. So this is what we're using today. So go grab your pumpkin spice latte or whatever fall drink you prefer, and let's pick my very first prompt. All right, let's start going. Let's pick my very first prompt for September, and that one is going to be, let's see what this says. Whoops, I got 2. We'll go with this one. If I can get it open. A highly anticipated book. Okay, I have several. I have Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. We can go with 13 Months by Jimmy Giuliano, or we can, oh, I know, we can do Rebecca. I've been wanting to read this one. This prompt does not say new release, it just says a highly anticipated book, so that means any book off of my cart that I'm itching to get to, and these are the 3 books that I want to read. This is Holly Jackson's newest book. It is her first adult thriller book, and I've heard it's really good. It's about a woman who is trying to solve her own murder. This one has to do, this is hard to explain, it's just about, I think she's a librarian, and she kind of befriends a student, and the student is a little odd. Her mom always comes with her to class, and something's just going on. She's off. So that is what this one is about. I think it's full on late 90s, early 2000s nostalgia, and you can tell by the cover just because it has that cracked CD case. Love it. And then Rebecca. This is a classic gothic psychological thriller, and I've been wanting to read this one for quite some time, and I know that fall is the best time to read it. I think I'm going to pick this just because, like I said, I've been wanting to read it. All I know about this one, it's about a woman who marries this widower, and when she moves into his house, the dead wife is still, I don't know if spiritually she's still there or something's going on, something's creepy. Oh, I'm going to read this one. So the very first book I'm going to pick for September is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Texan speaking French is not happening. So Rebecca's the first book. Prompt number 2 is, let's do this one. Read a classic. Well, that's this one. I don't have any other classics on this cart at all. I only have 2 classics in on my TBR shelves. It's Rebecca, and then I have Gone with the Wind, and I'm not reading that for 2 reasons. One, it's like 9 million pages long, and 2, it's not on my TBR cart, and that's the rule. It needs to be on my TBR cart. So we are going to pick again. So take 2. Read a random book off of the top shelf. Okay, so I have 12 books on this top shelf. So what I'll do is I'll just ask Siri to pick a number between 1 and 12, and I'll just read that book for the month. Hey Siri, pick a number between 1 and 12.
A random number between 1 and 12 is 10.
Just so you know, I have like 3 Apple computers. Well, I have 2 Apple computers and my Apple Watch, and my computer picked up my voice, so that one said 10, but we're going to go off my watch. It said number 1, and that one is The Last Apothecary, which I'm not mad about. I've been wanting to get to this one, and I think this is a good time to read it. This one is by Sarah Penner, and I think this one is a fantasy. It is a forgotten history, a secret network of women, a legacy of poison and revenge. Welcome to The Lost Apothecary. It looks like this is told through 2 timelines. The first one is in the 17th century, and the other one is present day. So all I know is this, I guess in the past timeline, there is a woman who sells poison or magic poisons to women in order to use against oppressive men in their lives. And then in the present day, then it says 200 years later, aspiring historian Caroline discovers an aged apothecary vial in the river Thames. Is it Thames? I think that's how you pronounce it. As she is newly grappling with the searing betrayal of her husband's infidelity, a curious research project is exactly the distraction Caroline needs. But when she discovers a link between the vial and London's long unsolved apothecary murders, Caroline soon collides with an explosive history, binding her fate to Nella's and Eliza's in a stunning twist that transcends the barrier of time. That sounds amazing, and it sounds like something I'm really going to love. It's also a little bit shorter than what I'm used to. I think it's under 300 pages, or a little over 300 pages. But book number 2 is The Lost Apothecary. Can't wait to read this one. Let's pick prompt number 3, and that is going to be book with stars on the cover. Okay, give me a minute to go through these books. It's probably going to be a fantasy, I can already tell you, but give me a minute and I'll pick out some books and we'll pick from those. Alrighty, believe it or not, we only have one book that has stars on it, which is shocking to me. I don't know if you can see this, but I decorated a little bit. I have some fall decorations behind me. You probably can't see it because it's kind of dark. And then I got these fun little magnets for my TBR card. It says hello fall, and there's just some leaves and acorns and pumpkins. So just trying to get myself in the seasonal mood. Not that I need much, but like I said, there was only one book, and that is the Arcana Academy by Elise Kova. This is a fantasy romance. It is the popular book of the moment, and this one is, I think the magic system is tarot cards, and it's set in an academic setting. So it's going to be dark academia. It is on the longer side. It's actually pretty heavy, but that's probably because of the sprayed edges. I'm trying not to read anything. 544 pages. So this is a pretty big book, pretty hefty book, but this is book number 3 for the month of September. Let's pick prompt number 4, and that one is going to be this one. A fall setting. It's perfect because, hello, what are we doing right now? Alrighty, we can do, I know we can do Not Quite Dead Yet because this one, the opening scene is on October 31st. So that is an option. And it's kind of hard to figure out if some of these are set in the fall. When I switched out everything on my cart with more fallish books, more atmospheric type books. So I'm assuming all of these books are set in the fall. So give me a minute and let me go through and see if I can find some that seem to be more set in the fall. Okay, this was a lot more difficult than I thought. I assume most of these are set in the fall, but I'm not positive, and I was looking through some of them, and some of them are set in the winter. Some of them I think are more, I don't know. So I picked out a few that I think are set in the fall. First one, again, Not Quite Dead Yet. This one is for sure set in the fall. We already talked about this one. The other two are newer releases for me. I have Asylum Hotel. This one, it says, when a mysterious figure shows up in a photograph an architect takes of the derelict hotel Sebring, ghostly encounters and murder are unleashed. So this is going to be kind of like a spooky book. I don't know if it's going to be historical fiction with a spooky vibe. I'm not sure I really want to read this. And this one, it looks like it's set in the fall because it looks very creepy. But this one talks about gardens, so I'm wondering if this is more like springish, but it says a murderess becomes the guardian of 2 very unusual girls in this mesmerizing gothic novel by Camilla Bruce. I think what I want to do, I know for a fact this one is set in the fall, but I really want to read this one too. Let's go with The Asylum Hotel, actually. This is something a little bit different. It's a book I've never heard of. One of you guys recommended it because you are adding it to your own TBR, And I think this is one, I love ghost stories. I love a good creepy atmospheric book, and I think this one's going to deliver. So book number 4 is The Asylum Hotel. Let's pick prompt number 5. And it's going to be ends with an even number of pages. Okay, give me a minute to go through some books and see about how many page numbers. And when I look at the page numbers, I don't count the acknowledgments or the glossary or any author's notes. I just do the story. So if there's an epilogue, whatever the last page of the epilogue is, or the last chapter, I'll look at that page number, and hopefully I will not ruin anything for me. And I have some very dark books, so I think I want to pick something a little bit lighter and maybe a little funny. We can go with, let's see, let's check this one. It is, oh, I can't read this. I need my glasses. I think that says, oh my gosh, this page before it. Okay, so this one, okay, this one's even. That one is not. Some of my lighter reads are actually in the back. These are some of my women's fiction and mysteries, cozy mysteries. Let's see. No. Nope. Okay, well, I have 3 books, so we will pick from there. I was looking for something a little bit, like I said, a little bit lighter to read, just because I have some pretty dense books already. And the first one I picked is The Matrimonial Advertisement by Mimi Matthews. This is a historical romance, and when I hauled this book, I mentioned it was Christian fiction, and one of you guys corrected me and said it really isn't. It's just a clean historical romance. All I know about this one is this is a marriage of convenience. It's about a woman who answers an ad in a newspaper for marriage, and she ends up marrying the man, and she has a mysterious past. And the man, I think he is a war hero, and he's just looking for a wife, someone to live out his days with, and this is their story. I've heard this was really good. It kept popping up on my Bookstagram feed, and so I bought this on a whim. So this is a good option. The second book I had is You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Holden. This is a contemporary romance, and it has been on my shelves for quite some time. And the blurb reads, when your nemesis also happens to be your fiance, happily ever after becomes a lot more complicated in this wickedly funny lovers to enemies to lovers romantic comedy debut. So this is another one I heard is pretty good. So this is a good light read. And then finally, I have The Sweet Spot by Trish Dollar. This is book 2 in an interconnected series. I read the first book, The Float Plan, I think last summer, and I loved it. It was so good. And this follows the sister in that book. And I think this is about a woman who she loses her job and she heads to Kelly's Island on Lake Erie, where she gets a job at a brewery. I think there's a hotel there or something. And the man who runs that brewery, I can't say that word, his name is Mason, and I think they don't get along. So this is another hate to love. So 3 very different books, I guess, to pick from. So out of these 3 books, I'm really torn on which one to read, because this one is very different from these 2. And I really want to go with something lighter. So I think I'm going to go with You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Holden. Technically, we are still in summer up until the end of September. And I think this is just going to be a lighter, more funny read to kind of break up some of these darker books. So book number 5 is You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Holden. Let's pick prompt number 6. Let's get one at the bottom. There we go. A book you keep saying you'll read. Well, that's all of these, to be honest with you. I did a video earlier in the year called 25 Books I'm going to Read in 2025. So I guess we can pick something off of that. We can do Normal People by Sally Rooney. I haven't read anything by her. We can do Hello Beautiful by Anne Napolitano. We could do The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry by Gabrielle Zevin. I read one other book by her. Did not love it. Or we can do The Things You Leave Unfinished. I have others, but they're more dense, and I'm trying to pick something a little shorter or a little lighter, or something that I can just kind of breeze through. I think I'm going to narrow it down to these 2 books. I have Hello Beautiful by Anna Napolitano. One of my best friends read this and she loved it. I think this is just a lit fic or a contemporary fiction. It just says an exquisite homage to Louisa May Alcott's timeless classic, Little Women. Oh my gosh. Hello Beautiful is a profoundly moving portrait of what is possible when we choose to love someone not in spite of who they are, but because of it. Oh, that sounds good. And then the other one is The Things We Leave Unfinished by Rebecca Yarros. This says, told in alternating timelines, the things we leave unfinished examines the risks we take for love, the scars too deep to heal, and the endings we can't bring ourselves to see coming. Obviously I read Fourth Wing and her fantasy romance series, but in terms of contemporary romances, I only read one, and that was The Last Letter. That one destroyed me, full on ugly crying. I cry in all books, but that one just really hurt when I read the ending. So I expect very similar, but I'm pretty sure I'll cry in this one too. It's just whether I want something more of a lit fic or if I want more of a contemporary romance. And this sounded really good because it had me at Little Women. This is hard. Which one should I pick? Okay, decision made. I picked a book. I'm going with Hello Beautiful by Anna Napolitano just because my best friend said I need to read this. And also because it said it is an homage to Little Women. It had me at Little Women. So book number 6 is Hello Beautiful by Anna Napolitano. Let's pick our very last prompt. Prompt number 7 is, it is pink, which means it is a newer prompt. So this one reads, book by a favorite author. Oh boy. Some of these are new authors, or I've only read one other book by them, so I wouldn't say it's a favorite just yet. I think that is actually, oh, I have a Taylor Jenkins Reid book. I can do Daisy Jones and the Six. I can do Grady Hendrix as a favorite author. I could do The Final Girl Support Group. Let's move to the back because some of my favorite authors are back here. Let's see. Oh, I have a Catherine Center book. I have Things You Save in a Fire. Love Catherine Center. You guys know that. And I also have a Courtney Walsh book. I have The Happy Life of Isadora Bentley. This is going to be a clean romance. And okay, so I have 4 books to choose from. Let's see what I have. I have a magical type fantasy. I have a gothic classic. I have a fantasy romance. I have more of a spooky, I don't know if it's horror or a thriller. I have a contemporary romance, and I have possibly a lit fic. Okay, so do I want to go with just a general fiction, women's fiction book with Daisy Jones? I can probably get this on audiobook. I heard that is the way to listen to that one. Do I want to go with horror with Grady Hendrix? He writes great dark comedy. I love Grady Hendrix. Do I want women's fiction with a touch of romance? You guys know I love Catherine Center. She can do no wrong. She cannot write a bad book. I'm leaning towards this one, but I also love Courtney Walsh. This past summer, she came out with a book called Everything's Coming Up Rosy. That was a 5-star read. I loved it. And I do want to get to this one. I think I'm going to narrow it down to these 2. And this is going to be another tough one. And I think I'm going to go with Catherine Center. She's my go-to. I've been wanting to just binge read her backlist. I love her writing. I love her characters. She writes witty, snappy dialogue that just always has me laughing. And all I know is this is about a female firefighter, and that's all I need to know. And I think this firefighter made an appearance in a book that I read previously called How to Walk Away. I think that was one of the firefighters in that book. So that's going to be an interesting read about, because there's not a lot of female firefighters even today. It's still a male-dominated field, and so it's going to be interesting to get the female perspective and learn how she's treated in the firehouse. And I think it's just going to be a good, heartwarming story. So book number 7 is Things You Save in a Fire by Catherine Center. Before I close out this video, let's just do a quick recap of the 7 books I chose for September's TBR. Starting with The Last Apothecary by Sarah Penner, Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, Arcana Academy by Elise Koba, Asylum Hotel by Juliet Blackwell, You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogel, Hello Beautiful by Anna Napolitano, Things You Save in a Fire by Catherine Center. All right, my friends, these are the 7 books that I chose for September's TBR, my very first fall TBR. Well, not my very first fall TBR. In case you don't know, I did do a just seasonal TBR. I did a fall TBR think that was a few videos ago. I will link it above just in case. Those are books that I'm just going to mood read. Those are books that I absolutely want to read this fall that I'm just going to mood read through when I'm not reading these books. But like I said, these are the 7 books that I picked for September, and I think these are some great books. I think we have, as always, a good mix of genres. I have some darker, denser books, gothic books, atmospheric books that are just going to give me some fall vibes, and then also have some little lighter reads, or maybe they might be probably a little more emotional than what I'm expecting, but I'm calling them lighter reads just because they don't have that gothic, atmospheric setting that I associate with fall. So these are going to be just some nice little books to break up some of the heaviness of the other ones. But if you have read any of these books, please let me know what you thought about them, or let me know what is on your September TBR. I know one of you has Rebecca for your September TBR, and one of you has Hotel Asylum because you both commented on a previous video and told me that you picked those up. But yeah, this is my September TBR. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.